Welcome to the Iowa Outdoorsman Podcast. Brought to you in part by Dakota Decoy Company.
Okay, we are on. This is the Iowa Outdoorsman Podcast. I'm Brandon Hilton. With me, as always, is Randy Thomas. Hey, Randy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, we got a special guest with us today. This is our first guest on our second episode. He is, at least locally known, maybe widely known, as an overall great outdoorsman.
Worldwide.
Worldwide. Quite honestly, he's the best turkey hunter I know. Zach and I have known each other for a lot of years. We've been in a lot of hunting groups together, including Randy, mostly waterfowl. But Zach Harryman is on the show today. How's it going, Zach?
Good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, thanks for coming on. I'm excited about this. This, like I said, you're our first guest. It could not be a better time to bring you on because we just kind of got done with turkey season. You're a super successful turkey hunter. But that, it just makes sense to bring you on right now. So what do you say we talk a little bit of recap of turkey season?
That'd work great.
Good. Well, hey, how did your turkey season go this year, Zach? Let's start there.
It went better than I thought it was going to be honest. It started off a little slower than normal, so to say. I think the pocket that I hunt in, probably the population's down a little bit, to be honest with you. So I wasn't, I guess, that high up on the season, so to say, and turned out to be good turkey hunting.
Do you think that's kind of statewide with the population being down?
No,
I feel like you're not the only person I've heard say this year, like not very excited about it up front.
yeah, no, I mean, I think locally there's kind of just a pocket around me now. I mean, obviously, got buddies to the south down in Lucas County, and they have tons of birds. So I'm not sure why, so to say, it's kind of down in my area, or at least on some of the farms I hunt. But I think everybody in our area had great success, so I can't really say it's, I guess, down, I guess, so to say. But just not as many birds as I'm normal to seeing, I guess.
Like you had to hunt for 15 minutes a bird, or
Mm-hmm.
took you a little longer than usual.
I will say, yes. So I think I was part of seeing 5 birds harvested and 6 hunts. So it was still it was a good year, but I honestly didn't get out as much as I normally would, with starting a new job with a new company. So and spring wasn't as wet as normal either. So it was dry and farmers were rolling. So I didn't get to sneak out as much either. So, or get to take people as much as I normally would as well. So.
Well, and just to touch on that, Zach's a lucky man because his job is seed salesman essentially, right? Or maybe you're a manager or something at this point now, but that's always contributed to you being out in the countryside, especially in the spring. And talk a little bit about what what do you think attributed to turkey numbers being down in your area? Was there anything in particular that happened weather-wise, or do you think it's a predator issue, a hatch issue? What do you think attributed to numbers being down?
Yeah, so I honestly, I mean, I like to deer hunt as well, so I run a lot of deer cameras, and we get a lot of raccoon activity on a lot of those cameras. So I think nest predators are definitely a big play in that. That's the only thing I really have. I mean, last year wasn't an overly wet spring. We're not getting in near the trappers that we used to get. So I think that probably plays, a crucial role in that. But yeah, I would just say nest predators are probably the biggest key that I think I could see. I mean, our bobcat population is is very strong as well. I actually was overlooking a bottom one day scouting, and I watched a bobcat get a hold of a hen down on the bottom. So yeah, I think our bobcat population too is probably causing that. Now, I'm not obviously I don't work for the DNR or nothing, so I can't say that's a fact, but I think it all has, you know, it all plays a role in it. So
Yeah, I mean, you don't work for the DNR, but obviously, as a hunter, we're usually the first to know what we think's going on, and raccoons definitely they're definitely an underrated predator. Just because they're not killing full size birds, that doesn't mean they're not raiding nests, and nobody's going after them. The fur isn't worth anything, and so they're just kind of a free for all right now. So that makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
Trap
for
the
sure.
raccoons.
For sure, and skunks are another one too. And where I live over here by Bank Swallow, just the other day I was out actually pedaling through on a bike, and I smelled a skunk, and the first thing I thought is they're probably out raiding a pheasant nest or something like that. So predators are definitely an issue. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense why if predator control isn't there, and it's going to affect a lot of different game that we like to chase. So you mentioned you were a little bit maybe pessimistic going in, but I know we talked shortly after youth season, and I know you like to do the youth hunt stuff. Started with your sister Mary, and then kind of pass the torch down to Ryan, and there's some other kids that you like to take out, and you've been a great guide for at least me, and I know other full grown men that need a little help along the way. But let's talk about
All
the
but
start.
one. We
What'd
won't
you
talk
say, Rand?
about the one. All but one.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm
Let,
talking about.
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the season and how to start out youth season with you and your daughter, and kind of what you guys saw and what you guys did to get that bird.
yeah, so it did start out with taking my sister. I had guardianship of her and thought, you know what, she's living with us. Let's go turkey hunting. I love turkey hunting. It is my favorite thing to do over even waterfowl hunting. But
Whoa. Whoa,
um,
this is the first I've actually heard this.
yeah, um, so my daughter Ryan has been very fortunate. She's harvested a lot of birds, probably more than a lot of grown men, I guess, so to say. But um, you know, a lot of that, you know, a lot of that comes from scouting alone. I scout a ton. My job allows me to be in the countryside a lot anyway. So um, I probably scout, I don't know, 2 hours a day minimum every day, and that's turkey hunting, waterfowl hunting. Um, but my daughter's been very lucky youth hunting. I love taking kids out hunting. As you guys are well aware of, you both have harvested or been with your kids when they've harvested their first birds, and it's just something that never gets old. I mean, I don't know how many times I've hashtagged that. It never gets old, but it really truly doesn't. I just love taking youth out, introducing new people out, hunting. Um, youth season seems to always be uh, kind of the easy season too, which is great that the DNR has allowed the youth to go first, obviously. So that way, all the other adults aren't stirring everything up, I guess, before the kids get out there. But scouting just plays a huge role or a huge part in success, and I usually don't take a kid hunting if I don't feel like we don't have an opportunity. I don't want to set them up for failure, I guess. Um, so, so yeah, I think scouting plays a huge role, and it was fun. I took 3 kids out this year, and they all harvested a bird. So I guess 4 if you count Mount Rankin, but
The most
Shout out to
immature
Rankin.
kid of them all.
no, we had a good year. So yeah,
Well, and I think you hit the nail
So,
on the head on a couple things there. Number one, scouting, obviously, and we're going to get into this in a second because I've scouted my butt off and really pinned down some birds and failed to harvest them. But setting kids up for success, and that's a big deal. And I think you've done a great job with that. And like you said, you don't want to take them out if they can't be successful. And it's whether it's duck hunting, deer hunting, turkey hunting, water fishing, whatever. they got to go out and have fun. And if they just go out and sit and hunt the way I do sometimes, and just sit there and play on the phone waiting for something to walk by, then probably not going to be a lot of fun. Uh, but yeah, you did mention scouting, and I don't know, Randy, you probably uh, can agree with me that sometimes it doesn't always work out. If you just go scouting, you got to be good at the game too, right?
Yeah. Well, Zach is one of the best scouters in the group. One little story about scouting and it not always working out is one day early goose we hunted and Zach knew the time of every goose basically coming in the pond. Like there should be a pair right now. I don't know where this pair is. Right about now there should be a 4 pack coming in. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Where's that 7 pack that usually show up by now? And it just doesn't always work out just from scouting. And I think with that being said, sometimes, especially turkey, you just end up waiting longer I mean, you don't give up, you stick it out a little longer. And with kids, that could be a little difficult. So I'm sure you've experienced this. I've experienced this with Sophia. So what do you use? What's your go-to method for getting a kid through a hunt when they gotta stick it out a little longer? Or if it doesn't happen right away, pack it up and go for another day.
Uh, a cell phone goes a long ways anymore. I'm not sure how. I don't remember what I did. I guess when I was 12 and turkey hunting with my dad, who got me started in hunting and got me hooked, so to say, on it. But yeah, make sure the phones are charged and if they got earphones, or earbuds, put those in so they can listen to it, and you're not going to scare birds away. So, it doesn't always work how you want it to work. I mean, heck, a tom could get hung up on a hen and them not come past you, But sometimes you just got to wait them out, and they'll break off from that hen, and sometimes it just takes a little luck. So, but yeah, I would say a cell phone with youth hunters or iPad, definitely a must in a turkey blind or a deer blind.
Well, and I remember taking my middle boy. He's 17 now. When he was a little kid, before he had phones, uh, I would take a coloring book. We'd sit in a ground blind and deer hunt, and he'd sit there and color to kind of keep him occupied. So, yeah, there's always something now. But cell phones are a big thing, and quite honestly, I think it works for adults too. It's not just kids, because I spend a lot of time in the tree stand and in the turkey blind or whatever, just sitting there scrolling through, even in the duck blind or goose blind, whatever. Things start getting quiet when you're out goose hunting. It means everybody's tucked in and probably playing on their phones. So yeah,
That
that's a good piece of advice, I guess, for people that are trying to keep their kids occupied and keep them outdoors a little bit longer, huh?
Yeah, I have a picture from snow goose season where I was looking down the blind one day and every guy was just looking like this on their phone. So I had to get mine out and get a picture of that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what we did before.
Oh, we would have had to chat, God forbid that people sit around and chat with each other. But, when you do it so frequently with the same guys over and over, maybe you get tired of talking. I don't know. But anyway, so, hey, let's go through a little bit of tactic. Okay. So, yeah, we got the scouting down, right? You got the birds pinned down. You got the kids occupied, whether it's the kids, you and me. Tell a little bit
Grandkid.
about your approach, I guess. When you're going out, you know where you want to be. You know where the birds are roosting, because I know you put them to bed every night. So I know you know where they're coming down. What's your tactic to be so successful?
Well, a lot of times, especially on we had a couple full moon mornings, and you better get in there a little earlier. Get set up. I usually set up a blind the morning of. I know a lot of guys go out and set up blinds, weeks prior or days prior, but I like to be a little more mobile, I guess, so to say, even though I'm in a blind. We get in there, we get set up. For decoy wise, I know you guys are big Dakotas guys, and I reap the benefits of running Dakotas too on the honkers and the ducks. But I run Dave Smith decoys for turkey hunting. And I don't think it necessarily matters the brand, so to say. Sorry, Randy, I know that's tough, but a lot of times I run, a 3/4 strut Jake, a lay down hen, and usually maybe, an alert hen or a feeding hen, depending on the year. I've kind of went away from using strutter decoys, just because if you don't get that dominant tom, a lot of times they might not commit all the way. Um, and there's nothing more frustrating for especially a youth hunter to see a bird, hung up at 60 yards. So a lot of times, with that Jake decoy, they come in and they pounce on it, and I've had the most success running the Jake decoy. So yeah, that's kind of the decoy setup I usually run. Now I have nothing against guys that run tom decoys or nothing like that. It just my preference. That's what I've had the best luck with. Um, and I honestly, I don't call a lot. I'll call maybe every 15 minutes or so. If one answers me, then I might hit him right back. But I'm not going to sit there and call and call and call and call and call. So I do use a mouth call. I also have slate calls. So it just depends on the preference. Now I've used a slate call and nothing answered me. I throw a mouth call in, boom, one gobbles back. So I think it depends on the bird on what they like. And I'm by far no professional, you know, turkey caller by any means, but obviously, I can make it sound good enough for the trick 'em, I guess. But honestly, I think decoy visibility helps a guy more than anything. Just if you got realistic decoy set up and get the right one, he's going to come running in. So that's kind of my tactics. I like to stay patient because I've been impatient before and tried, doing the whole sneak around thing. And the next thing you know, they're in your decoys. So patience pays off when you're turkey hunting more times than not. But yeah, I enjoy talking to other guys too on kind of their strategies, and I usually like to get as close to the roost as I can without bumping them off the roost. Obviously, probably within 100 yards, and kind of usually know where they pitch out of the tree, I guess. So that's kind of my tactics, so to say.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And quite honestly, since Dakota doesn't have turkey decoys available right now, we'll let you slide. But hey, Randy, we probably get this guy switched over. I know you guys are hunting over Dakota waterfowl decoys all the time, and as am I. But we'll get you switched over there as soon as that new paint pattern comes out, and they have some turkey decoys available for you. So, yeah, that's a lot of good stuff. And one thing, and I know this was a hunt you and I had together, Zach, and I don't know if it's necessarily a tactic per se, but it worked out well for us. If you remember when we went out, it had rained 3 days straight, and I think I was stuck on a 4-season tag or something like that, and we just waited the weather out, and the next sunny, calm, beautiful morning we got out, and it was a little slow to start. There was gobbles, but they were fired up. I don't know if I've ever heard as many gobbles as we heard that morning, but when they came charging, and that's one of those things too. And I try to, even to this day, I kind of live by that. If I've got a turkey tag, if there's weather in the forecast and it's going to rain for a couple of days, whenever there's that break in the weather, I want to be out there because that experience alone kind of set me off. And I shot my turkey with you that day. We had that blind put up against all those hay bales, and remember that hunt? That was
Yeah, top of the knob. Yeah, yep. Yeah. So if it's windy out or raining out, I'm probably sleeping in. I mean, I'm just, maybe call me a fair weather hunter, I guess, but I don't want to scare that bird either if I'm bumping walking out or something like that. So I'm going to try to hunt the right days, and we do it as waterfowl hunters too. If there's no wind, I probably don't really want to be in a goose blind either, or clouds, for geese. Now, if the sun's out, let's go duck hunting, but turkey's the same way. If it's windy, they're probably going to be a little more quieter. And if it's raining, now my dad tells a great story about how he sitting in the rain and shot a bird and blah, 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 blah. But I just, it's not for me, I guess.
Everybody who hunts anything's like rain. It's the best weather to hunt. It's the best weather to sleep in.
I think that way. I've seen him hunt on some pretty crappy days, and I just like, I don't know.
I'm one of those guys. If there's any kind of precipitation in the air, and it's November or December, I'm probably going to duck hunt. I'll suffer through it. Deer hunting, pheasant hunting, really any more fishing of any sort. Um, I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to wait for. I'll be fair weather there. But when it comes to waterfowl, I think especially ducks. It's not a migration day when it's crappy like that. But what ducks are there are moving. They're going to just kind of keep beating their wings, or at least from my experience. And I love frozen rain. The boat ride sucks because it's icing up all your stuff and you're getting pellets in your eyes if you don't have goggles. But it's keeps the ducks moving anyway. But turkey hunting, deer hunting, that kind of stuff. I don't know. When it comes to weather, especially wind, I hate wind. I want to hear those birds. And if you're on the wrong side of the wind, I remember hunting turkeys and being able to see strutters clear off in the distance and not even being able to hear them. You could see their neck stretch out. You knew they were gobbling, but you can't hear them because it just wasn't working right. Maybe they hear you, but and then on the opposite side, if you're downwind of them and it's super windy and you strike that slate, they can't hear it. Maybe they can see your decoys, but they're not going to hear you calling. So, what's the difference then? So, anyway, that's so let's recapping the season. I guess you mentioned you took a few kids out. You probably had a couple tags. This is probably a slow year for you then. How many birds did you say you were in on this year?
We only shot 5 this year. So, honestly, I didn't get out as much. I mean, I need to get Dan Cruz on a bird. Like, it's every
that's recorded and going down as an official contract.
every year. I say let's get Dan a bird, and so I did take Dan hunting one time, and he was a little impatient, and we had 3 drakes walk through the decoys 3 times, and this is going to be on a podcast for Dan, so he can continually hear this. And he ended up shooting a drake that day instead of waiting for the toms, So, but yeah, I need to get Dan Cruz on a bird next year. That should probably be my goal over everything. So probably
make Ryan wait next year.
Yeah, maybe
until
Ryan
Dan
could get her bird first season or something, But probably my favorite hunt of the year though was actually with Rankin right back behind my house at 300 yards from my back door. My wife had seen this bird multiple days. She probably did the best scouting, I guess, of the year, so to say. And I had seen the bird 2 different days too, I guess. But I told him 3 hens, birds there at 7:30. And Rankin, anybody that knows Rankin, he's not very patient, So he's out kind of peeking out the blind, looking both directions. And I said, Rankin, it ain't 7:30 yet. And the 3 hens ended up showing up, and he ended up shooting that bird at 7:29. So we had him pretty pegged. So he probably had the easiest bird of the year. So just a fun little story, a recap of, so to say. And I have there's 3 or 4 high school kids that drive by the house, going to the high school every day, and they were sending me messages. You got a bird back behind your house? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep that for a youth kid, youth hunter.
Same thing.
I got ranked.
Oh,
so, but yeah, I will give a shout out to 3 individual high school kids that they did graduate this year. That they did pretty dang well this year. I think they were at 10 or 12 birds in the area, so they showed me up a little bit this year. So
ooh.
Yeah, not that it's a number game, but they did very well. They actually went down to Oklahoma and shot 3 birds, and they did a little traveling too. So kind of neat to see some young kids get out there and do some hunting, wrap some tags around some legs.
Well, good for them because, hey, when you're young, you got to take advantage of that because you get older and have responsibilities and especially new jobs. And I know you're active with lambs and sheep and softball and everything else you do. So I'm in that same world too, where, the obligations and as much as you want to prioritize and your family and those things always come first too. So I'm going to guess those high school kids, just hey, do it while you can, young guys, because I did it too. I did it too as often as I could, and I still do it as often as I can for whatever it is. And I know you guys too do
Yeah.
too. But
Hilton still hunts all the time like he's in high school, so I don't even know what he's saying. Do it while you can. Hey, I'll be out today, guys.
yeah, just hey, I'm not
Well,
coming to the office.
and we're very fortunate. Most of the guys we hunt with have pretty flexible jobs, so it's, as 35, 40-year olds, it's kind of fun to be kids, and get to go play all the time.
Well, and,
So
and quite honestly, I can't think of a guy that we all know that would take a career or a job where they couldn't be flexible to be in the outdoors. Because if I honestly, if I was pinned up to where I couldn't be flexible, I'd be miserable. I'd be miserable. That's the bottom line. And I had those jobs. I had the 9 to 5 cubicle job downtown, and I remember I quit because I was out of vacation time, and I'd qualified for a Northern Divisional bass tournament up in Yankton, South Dakota, and I was out of vacation time, and I wasn't really going to get to go by their standard, and there was no way I wasn't going bass fishing that next week. So, so I mean, yeah, you do prioritize, I guess, to an extent that you find a good fit so you can do the things you love to do, because being in the outdoors and hunting and fishing for guys like us is, yeah, pretty high on the list.
So, Zach, what was your quickest turkey hunt?
um, this year
No, we'll say of all time.
I had one at 14 minutes this year.
That's pretty good.
14 minutes.
Yeah, he
That's
flew
quick.
flew out of roost at like 60 yards and come barreling right in. So it was pretty quick. I think I was back to the truck before official sunrise. So
It's like it never happened.
yeah. So and guys give me a lot of hard time. A hard time about, do you ever work? I've heard that 1,000 times probably, and that's what I love about turkey hunting. You can usually go out and turkey hunt and still be to work by 7:30, 8 o'clock easy. So but yeah,
Yeah.
I think 14 minutes. That's probably the fastest I've ever. Yeah.
Hey, what about your quickest goose hunt?
Oh, you probably 15 minutes in the field. You just get set up and lay down, and here they go.
No, you and I hunted that pond together the one day, kind of a little bit of thin ice. You still had Benelli and his yellow lab Benelli, and I think those geese came in at shooting time, and that was limit was 2, and
Yeah.
we popped up at shooting time as they were coming in, and we were done in 2 minutes probably.
Yeah. I kind of forgot about that one. I know exactly where you're talking about. We've had a lot of good goose hunts on
Yes,
that.
we have. I probably missed a few, but I know I was in on several. So
Yeah.
So hey, looking forward. I mean, turkey season's over now. Yeah, crops are in the field. What's going on now?
Well, I got 4 softball games to go through tomorrow, and at least 2 on Sunday. And lamb season's full bore. We got our first lamb show up next Friday. Ryan loves to do that as well. Getting Logan kind of going in it. She's got one this year, so yeah, ball and sheep this summer. So Ryan's playing a little junior high ball as well, so she's nonstop, and yeah, ready for September, and gonna go put a little sweat equity in down at the duck farm down in Riverton, and get ready to chase some waterfowl around.
Yeah, you mentioned the
I
duck
don't know. After
down in
hearing you
Riverton.
say,
I'm really hoping Dan will come on because I would love to talk to him about owning a duck farm. I know a lot of guys aspire to have their own duck farm, and there's a lot, and I know you guys could speak to all of it too. But yeah, to hear the perspective of a duck farm owner and what it really takes to farm waterfowl. Hopefully, we can get Dan on to do that sometime.
It takes a lot of patience because your friends break a lot of shit.
Yeah. We're very, very fortunate to get to experience Dan's farm. I mean, that's funny story about Dan's farm. So my father-in-law actually found that farm on Craigslist and goes, "Man, wouldn't that be fun to be able to have a farm?" And knowing Dan and Daryl as Dan's dad, sorry, Miss Big D, um, Daryl went down there and bought that farm. Um, yeah, we get to have fun, down there every year. So, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's
Daryl had that effect on everybody. I mean, anybody that got to hunt with him would completely understand. He loved waterfowl hunting more than anybody, but I think it's more the company he was with that he was actually enjoying the most, and we just didn't all realize that at the time.
Yep, no, for sure.
oh,
I was thinking you'd be a great. I saw your deal on your Facebook page about a Hall of Famer in the outdoors, and Daryl would be a great one to maybe induct. He started the High V Fishing Derby and stuff. He was great for kids and was always giving back to all everybody that he hunted with, and just throwing his name in the hat, I guess. So
I like it.
so to say,
That's a great
yeah,
nomination.
yeah,
It's a great, good guy, and I didn't know Daryl as well as a lot of you guys did, but I spent some time with him down at the lodge and down at the farm, and when he first bought it and all those work days we did, and having a lot of fun. It's a special place.
yep.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
maybe
we're very lucky. So
maybe one day we could have some tales from the lodge episode.
we could tell stories, especially on Daryl. But no, not to get off on a different subject, but no, yeah. So
Yeah, good stuff there. So yeah,
yeah,
baseball, or I'm sorry, baseball's me. You're softball, lambs, and looking forward to the fall, like the rest of us, I suppose. You gonna get any fishing in? You think? Probably some.
maybe a little bit. I just don't fish as much as I used to. Just don't have the time. Always love to go ice fishing, I guess, when waterfowl season's over. But I just don't get out and do a lot of fishing. Maybe I got a good buddy that likes to do a little walleye fishing and wouldn't mind jumping in the boat with those guys. But I don't know. We'll see if I have time because time is not on my side right now.
What about what is it down?
On hold till
Is
September.
it don't you go down to Tennessee or
Yeah, yeah. So we usually go down every fall down there and go trout fishing down in Taneycomo. My father-in-law used to go there, multiple times a year and trout fish and we've kind of made that a family trip every year and yeah. So it's not planned yet, but usually we make it down there trout fishing. So down in Branson. Yep.
cool?
All the time.
What else we got,
Well,
Randy?
I'm still a little unshocked that Zach chose turkey hunting over waterfowling. I've been trying to get over it this whole episode. I've seen how passionate it is about it, how passionate about it he is, and I'm not gonna believe it.
There's just something about getting out there before the sunrise and listening to the woods wake up, and it's something you can't describe to everybody when you got a gobbler at 10 yards gobbling his head off or beating up your decoy, or everybody sees geese flying around and landing in fields, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Turkey hunting's my number one, and probably honkers over water and ducks out of the field, probably in that order. So
Well, and I actually kind of knew that turkeys were your number one. I think we've had that conversation before. So
yep.
I hear it, but I don't believe it. But whatever. I mean, there's nothing that beats sitting in a blind that before the sun comes up, you got your good buddies and you got Rankin there telling the stories. I
We
mean, you
do
don't
have
get that out in turkey blind.
now waterfowl hunting's fun because you get to talk and chat it up and make fun of each other, make fun of Randy shooting, and go go from there. But I don't know, just turkey hunting. I enjoy it. It's an opportunity to take kids out. That's probably one of my biggest things is getting kids out there. My sister, my daughter, the Snugs girls, Aiden Dittmer. I've taken him out before. It's just multiple kids and multiple birds, and it's getting to see their eyes light up and giving them high five in the blind, and it's something I could do every day. I mean,
Well,
I,
quite honestly,
I
the
just
spring's a magical time because in Iowa we're cooped up, and you got the snow, and then once the snow's gone, you've got kind of a drab landscape of waiting for the green to show up, and uh, and the sun to get warm, and yeah, usually that youth season's a little chillier, but things are starting to sprout, and it boosts the morale to see the sun and the growth and being out there. I'm turkey hunting's not my number one, but I enjoy every second of it and being out there and we did actually have for the days I hunted anyway, being a fair weather hunter, I sat out the bad ones, but just beautiful mornings and not bad winds and warm sun and hearing the gobbles as infrequent as they were for me. But no, I'm with you. Being out in the spring and just taking it all in. There's something magical about that, especially in Iowa. So, yeah, I get it. I get it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and the
but
youth thing.
go ahead, Randy.
I was just gonna say the youth thing, and that makes perfect sense because there's a little bit of us that kind of forgets to appreciate those moments that they kind of show us again. Like, oh wow, that I should be a little more excited about what I just did. Like we can go out and we kill a goblin, like cool, let's pack it up and get going. But you see the kid. I mean, a lot of kids will first bird they'll burst into tears, and it really brings you back home to why you're out there doing that yourself.
yeah.
So
No, and
no, and it,
go ahead, Randy.
oh, I was just gonna say, so I mean, that's what takes more people to start taking these kids out, and that's the reason we all still do it. If we didn't have those generations coming up that actually liked it, then this would be something that was just kind of disappearing on us all.
Yeah, and I've got to take multiple youth hunters out deer hunting as well. I'm lucky enough to have a farm where, we have some food plots and we got a tower blind, and it's fun. Turkey hunting is one thing. Deer hunting is about the same. As for those youth kids. They don't care if they shoot a doe, a buck, whatever walks out there. They're wanting to pull the trigger, so to say. Have fun and and I've never told a kid, I don't care if it's a basket rack buck. If it's what you want to shoot, go for it. I know there's a lot of guys out there that are only going to shoot the big bucks, but for youth, I'm not going to tell a kid no, he can't shoot that deer. I guess so. Been very fortunate to see multiple kids shoot their first deer too. Because their dad didn't hunt or whatnot or couldn't take them out. So yeah, awesome experiences.
Yeah, no judgment. You won't even talk Dan out of his Jake. Zach really just needed a Jake fan. That's why he encouraged it.
You don't eat the beard, guys.
Probably better eating
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, that's good stuff, Zach. And I know you're doing a lot of great things in the outdoors. Like I said, I've known you for a lot of years. I remember the first day we met in the Walmart parking lot when I bought those lesser Avery decoys off you, and we've had a lot of fun since. And I'm super excited that you got to be our first guest to come on. And like I said, it couldn't be more timely with turkey season wrapping up, and you kind of being the turkey messiah around, at least around these parts. And I would argue that there's not too many people that unless they're a professional guide, there's not too many people freelancing and getting on more birds and putting more people, especially kids, on birds out there. So you're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and when we get into waterfowl season, like I said, we'll have a lot more to talk about as well, and as we keep rolling, there's more stories to be told. And I mean, like I said, you get into the farm stories, the lodge stories. I got a couple of those myself, so
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do an episode from Riverside
hey,
in
that'd be a good one.
live.
That'd be a good one. So, looking forward, guys, just kind of closing out here on this podcast. We had a great conversation with Zach. Um, we're coming up on 10,000 likes on the Facebook page, so we're going to be giving something away here soon. That was kind of an obligation I'm going to hold myself to. I set it out there, so we're going to do that. Future guests, Randy, I know you've got someone special on the docket. Um, uh, you want to talk a little?
Yeah, yeah, we'll announce it on the Facebook. So I guess the biggest thing, if you are interested in who's coming up, follow the Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and that's where we'll kind of make sure we're giving you the most information we can on who's up and coming. And it's good to put that out there. If you guys have any questions on those posts, put them on there, and we'll be sure to ask them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And Zach mentioned the Hall of Fame. Um, we are building a ballot right now, and I've actually had a couple nominations through the Facebook page, and Zach just made a nomination too. We're going to build a committee for that, and looking forward to recognizing some great people in Iowa in the outdoors as well. So a lot of good things going on here. Our following's growing every day. I follow the analytics on the podcast and on the Facebook page. So everything, we appreciate everybody that's checking us out. We appreciate people like Zach that are willing to come in and talk to us. And yeah, just a lot of exciting stuff going on here. Even though for some people it's a lull. Looking forward to September. For me, I'm looking forward to getting back on the water and catching more fish and training my bird dogs and everything else. But also softball and baseball and lambs and everything else. Everything else we're going to be doing too. So, any last words, guys?
No, I just again, like Hilton said, thanks for joining us, Zach. It's good to have a good friend on for the first episode, and us get to poke around and have fun with each other, and look forward to many more.
Sounds good, fellas. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to the next one. Everybody have a good evening.